in order to endear their lives, to endure, to move on. And it is informed by their policies in the Bismarck Conference of 1887, where their wars, which was about survival, had created a playing field that had narrowed. And because of that, they decided that Africa was a new place, a place that they were going to survive from, a place that they had envisaged they would live their continued existence from. So they carved out this beautiful continent for us. In fact, history is told how many of them talked about the African being a very pleasant person, a very ignorant person, a very welcoming person. You go visit, they are curious and happy to receive you. And you know why we are like that? Because we have been the land of plenty. We understood when you have guests, you karibuni, come in. You know, who are these strangers? You're welcome to a meal. Some cultures even said, you're welcome to my wine. No, it's true. We were the land of the sun. We were the land where everything grew. We lacked nothing. We had happiness. We had culture. We had education. We had belief in even a greater being. We were happy. We were not about survival. We were about existence and coexistence. And they said, we have found ignorant people who we can prey on. So they carved our continent. And what did they do when they carved our continent? They instituted something that we must never, ever lose from our minds. Depending on where, because I can tell you even when they came here, they loved the weather in Kenya, but couldn't stand it in Nigeria. To them, that was mosquito infested. It was too humid. They could not live. They were dying. So they said, we won't fully colonize Nigeria, but Kenya we will. The weather is conducive. We have mortality in a place called Kenya. So what drove them to institute systems and institutions, or lack of it, was simply their mortality in a particular area. But the basic principle was this. They came here to exploit our land. Because they needed to live. Never forget. They came to extract from our land. They came to exploit and extract from us as human beings. And they also came to dominate us. Because they came a source of survival. And as long as their source of survival, security was premised on their clear domination of us. So in 1887, they come here with a company called Royal East Africa Indian Company. And it had a mixture of our Wazungu and some Indians. That company changed in 1902 to Imperial British East Africa. And in 1902, we became a semi-colony. We were called a protectorate. So it was the first time the so-called British government was putting its hand here. By 1920, we became a colony. And the same company had, between 1902 and 1920, become the government of Kenya. So those people who came to extract, came to exploit, came to dominate, became the government of Kenya. Now, I want you to imagine that I have come here to make profit and I become the government of Kenya. The watchmen that used to guard their properties became the policemen. I don't know whether you can imagine that and ask yourself whether anything has changed. Because for a watchman who was protecting the private company's property, the adui were the people outside. Is that too different to the policeman today? Yes or no? That is what became the system. And out of it, as they extracted, as they exploited, as they dominated, no matter what they did, they always looked for something called a bailout from the British government. They took loan after loan, even after they built the railway. Loan after loan. That by the time we as Kenyans got our independence, we were a country in debt. That model did not work. So what has changed? We are still a government that is extracting, that is exploiting, and that seeks to dominate each and every one of us every day. So since independence, because we thought somewhere along the way, when we remove the Mzungu, our own African will come and change the model. But we inherited the same system. The same system that the Mzungu had implanted as a private enterprise to extract, to exploit, and to dominate. Then we thought, maybe we need greater political freedoms. We need greater political rights. And we chose the path of changing the constitution. We chose the path of introducing multi-partyism. That is political rights. And we fought very hard. These halls of the university were battlegrounds in our search for political rights. Nairobi had become a killing field under the Moi era for those political rights. And we got them, climaxed in 2010, with a constitution that has a rights charter unmatched anywhere in the world. So we have political rights. But are you richer? Are you richer? I'm asking you guys questions. No. Are you feeling richer? No. Are you feeling you have anything in your pockets? Do you have disposable income? We're now 60 years plus after independence. And what is it that is not empowering us economically? It is this system. Because all it's doing from you is extracting from you. All it's doing from you is exploiting you. And when you question it, they send the police to deal with you. Even though your rights, political rights, say they cannot. Even though they are told you cannot come inside that property, they come. Even though they are told you cannot arrest him, they arrest. Even though it's between that is an infringement of our political rights guaranteed in the Constitution. And if they can do it to me, I can assure you, each and every one of you are mincemeat to that system. So, what is wrong? I'll tell you what's wrong. You are in a system that has planned your poverty. And it doesn't matter what year you go through here in school. And until you arrest this system that is planning your continued poverty, you are a slave to that system. And the system goes like this, and it was instituted by the same colonizers that needed it for their survival and their continued survival. The Mzungu is not about greatness. Even up until today, their mentality is survival. Please get it in you. Their domination, expansion is about survival. That's why they talk about systems like democracy. Where there's no democracy, then it's not something we understand, so it is a threat to us.